All right, let me just do a preface. This video is purely for fun. Do not take it too seriously. It does touch on a serious matter, but let's not take it too seriously because it's a travesty. We're gonna hear Geeks and Gamers and Jeremy Griggs from that YouTube channel and site. I just want to preface, I'm not really going to be dealing with the substance of what Jeremy is alleging. That's not the point here. The point here is a parody video because Jeremy doesn't really know Dune. And we're going to see how much he does not know just by the way he's trying to talk about Dune. And I'll just say, this is a laugh riot. This is just purely for laughter because it is insane what he says.
Why shouldn't kindness be a woman? Go women! Ville-Nu would also discuss the film, describing its narrative as a critique of capitalism. Oh yes, oh yes. Oh yes, capitalism bad. Go ahead and bring Canto Bite into it, Denny. He explained, no matter what you believe, Earth is changing and we will have to adapt. Ville-Nu added, this is why I think Dune, this book was written in the 20th century. It was a distant portrait of the reality of the oil and capitalism and the exploitation and over-exploitation of Earth. He concluded, today things are just worse. It's a coming-of-age story, but also a call for action for the youth. If you thought it might get better from there, think again. In the obvious puff piece from Vanity Fair, they described Paul Atreides as Greta Thunberg. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Think Greta Thunberg. Only she's a Jedi with a... What? A diploma from Hogwarts? A Jedi with a diploma from Hogwarts? Greta... Ville-Nu also details changes to Baron Harkonnen, played by Stellan Skarsgård. He explained, as much as I deeply loved the book, I felt that Baron was flirting very often with a caricature. He continued, and I tried to bring him a bit more dimension. That's why I brought in Stellan. Stellan has something in the eyes. You feel that there's someone thinking, that his tension and his calculating inside, deep in his eyes. I can testify, it can be quite frightening. Wow. Ville-Nu's film will also expand Lady Jessica's role, Paul's mother. Jessica is a member of Ben Gesserit, played by Rebecca Ferguson. Ferguson described the character. She's a mother, she's a concubine, she's a soldier. She went on to describe how the character would be different from the book. Denny was very respectful of Frank's work in the book, but the quality of the arcs are much of the women have been brought up to a new level. These were some shifts he did, and they are beautifully portrayed. Ville-Nu does note that creating Dune is the Dune is the most difficult thing.
Okay, well, let me try to be generous and do a preface where some people have taken me to task on pronunciation. Like, they don't like how I'm pronouncing Shawnee. Well, you don't have to listen to the videos, but I think Shawnee is a perfectly respectable way to say the word. And people say, well, Frank doesn't say it like that. That doesn't matter. Let's just take an obvious case like the Baron. Some people, again, they say Harkonnen. I say Harkonnen. If you want to go with Harkonnen, great. If you want to go with Harkonnen, that's also great. There's just going to be a split difference here. That's the way it always is with fantasy worlds. When you do epic fantasy, one of the good things is you can play with words and play with names. And especially with names, you're going to come up with a kind of weird way of saying it. Sometimes for decades, people have no clue how to say it. Like, I believe it's Telexu for Telexu, but a lot of people are still not clear how to say that word. Especially with Dune and the Dune mythology, you're going to have splits. But that said, with Shawnee, at least you can say, well, I'm kind of appealing to, I guess, a French way of saying the word. There you go. Maybe you don't like that. I guess you can go with Connie, if that's your thing. Again, it's no really right or wrong way. That's a little bit different here with Jeremy, though, because he's not just mispronouncing things, which does happen. Like, obviously, I'm not going to lie, I'm laughing with most people the way he says kindness. That was pretty funny. But at least with kindness, I can kind of see where he went. Like, obviously, most people say kinds, but I can kind of see where he went with it. Like, okay, he went with Kai and then a Ness. All right. We can agree to disagree on that one. But then he just goes blasting through tons of other stuff, and not even the names, but just normal words. He gets a lot of stuff just wrong. But to be fair, the article itself also has grammar problems. Like, they get a lot of stuff wrong too. So what do you think about the reporting on what they're reporting about? Like, the actual way it's written is really terrible. So it's not a very good article. So he should have really not used that article, which just shows he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. But again, he does tell us ahead of time that he's not a fan of Dune. He doesn't really know Dune. And that's pretty obviously because he called it Doom. So it's like, okay, clearly Doom is on his brain and not even Dune. But I did find it not even just funny, but like why he keeps inserting letters. He just put an N letter with Paul's name. He put an R letter for the Bene Gesserit. They call it Gerserit. And it's like there's just no R there. Where'd the R come from? And then with Harkonnen, he turns him into a Ken doll because now it's Harkonnen. But there's no E. That's an O. Now, those things, it's not pronunciation. It's like, that's just not the word. You are literally inserting letters into the word, transforming it into another word. And not just here, but with normal words, you do the same thing. So it's like, I mean, the thing with Jeremy is, yes, he's a grifter, he's a thief, he's an idiot, he's a hypocrite, and he's a liar. But it's not even that. It's like, you can just be a totally visual person. And he clearly is. He looks at pornography, he looks at video games, he looks at television. That's basically it. He's a film, television, video game kind of guy. And he's really into porno. I mean, he brings it up a lot, which is his thing. If he likes pornography, more power to him. So he's a very visually oriented person. That's totally fine. I'm just like, why are you calling yourself geeks and gamers? It doesn't make any sense. Clearly, the geek part of it, I don't even think you understand that word. Now, again, it's true. It's a stereotype that geeks read a lot. Clearly not. A lot of geeks don't do a lot of reading. And I'm not saying you have to do a lot of reading. You can be a very educated person, a very intelligent person, and just see mostly television and film and video games. You can still be pretty intelligent, and you could definitely still know grammar. But even there, he doesn't seem to know even that much. The video is mostly worthless. It is just here to be laughed at. To give him a lot of points, he did do a follow-up video where he admitted he made a complete fool of himself. So, I mean, he's not even a fan of Dune, so I'm not even clear what was the motivation of the video, because he can't be outraged because he doesn't even know Dune. Why would you care? But he just wanted to make a clickbait video, make money from it, get a lot of views, and say, oh, this is horrible. They're turning her into Thunberg. That's the Vanity Fair article. He does make a few valid points, but even the few valid points are not very strong. But we'll deal with his points. But it's sort of like with something like Dune, you don't just rely upon one bad article. You really want to do at least a little bit of research, even if you're not into the thing itself. Otherwise, you're going to make a complete fool of yourself, which he did. But he has some points, so we'll go to those points. But and again, I'm open-minded with the pronunciation because clearly even experts disagree. Well, what is the pronunciation? Well, kind of complicated. I mean, he made it deliberately very complex. Still, Doom. Doom. Okay. I don't think I got that wrong. I think the videos have been pretty consistent, and Dune is Dune. It's pronounced Dune. There may be another linguistic way to do it, but I think Dune is fine, and I think most people agree. Dune is called Dune. It's not called Doom. But I'll give him points for this. He didn't just replace one letter that time. He did it with two letters and even took out the N. So it's like, okay, we're going to get rid of that one, and we're going to put two O's in it. But there's a famous story that David Lynch, he famously thought Dune was called June. At least he's continuing one long tradition. Oh, on a final note, he says he's a big Ville-Nu fan. Yeah, before he started the video, he was like, I'm a big Ville-Nu fan. And I had to watch the video a couple times. Wait, oh, you mean Villeneuve? Okay. Well, yeah. Again, I preface, this is just a video to laugh at. You don't want to take it too seriously, but, Ville-Nu. Okay. All right. I don't think you pronounce it like that, but, could be wrong about that one too. Again, I'm willing to be taught new things, but I think it's Villeneuve. But there we are. You have a nice day, and know full well you probably have an IQ 100 points higher than Jeremy Griggs from Geeks and Gamers.